Allora, di nuovo benvenuti.
Again, welcome to the third Pan Bianco Hotellerie Summit. I'm very happy to see all these people gathered here. And a few minutes ago, I was talking to an attendee, and actually they said, this is a regular meeting, which is quite useful to meet friends and colleagues. But before starting, I'd like to thank our partners. Without them, this event would never be possible. So Colliers, Alpac, Atefi, Concreta, Fiera Cavalli, Jessie, GFL, Integra Fragrances, LG Business Solutions, Made in Italy Fund 2, Per Dormire, Rational, Stellantis, and Velox Group. Thank you all, because as I mentioned earlier, they are those who allow us to actually organize this event, which is upon invitation and free, so we have no other sources of support. Let's start now with our works. As usual, we are starting with some figures that are going to frame our morning. So now Colliers Italia, represented by Marco Comensoli, from head of Hotels and Leisure Colliers Italy. Good morning, everyone. Thanks, Davide, for inviting me. It's a pleasure for me to be here today. My presentation aims at providing a general overview of 2024, trying to understand the trends for 2025 onwards. Let's start with the situation, what happened in 2024. Transactions in 2024 were about 1.8 billion, a value which is in line with previous years and also a growing one. This number was made up of about 80 total transactions. Those above 20 million account for 80% of the total transacted business, 30 transactions as a number. For them, the average value was about 40 million. If we add the Elbauer transaction, that was the largest one in 2024, the average value of these transactions exceeds 50 million. This is the general overview. Then we tried to understand the main trends emerging from these macro figures. The first two elements we focused on were, one, the modality of intervention, the modality of investment that was selected, and second, the positioning, and if there is a positioning which has special preferences compared to other options. We have assessed four types of interventions: development, second, conversion, hence purchasing an existing hotel facility, purchasing an office building, turning it into a hotel, or actually other original uses. Third, repositioning. I'll buy an existing hotel, repositioning it after restructuring. In some cases, I can also change the brand and the operator, or the purchase of operating hotels. The prevalent one in 2024, which we believe to be prevalent for the coming years too, is repositioning. So purchasing an existing hotel, restructuring, and repositioning. That accounted for about 65% of the total invested capital in 2024. This is quite paramount. This is a historical trend which we believe will be prevalent in the coming years. The second element we focused on was, there's a preferential investment positioning, which is actually about 50% of investments are to be positioned in luxury or super luxury segment. If we add up to these data, that we have about 20 branded rooms out of all positioning, while in 5 stars and luxury they're about 36%. We do understand how we have worked on this segment. This doesn't mean we don't have margin for growth, because if we consider other countries, branded rooms are about 50% of the total. So in both cases, we actually have room for growth. These are two factors we have analyzed. Another major factor we focused on was with investments made. Traditionally speaking, in Italy, we have, well, historically speaking, we have always invested a lot on Rome, Milan, Florence, and Venice as the four main destinations. And this has been the main trend up to 2019. Starting from 2021, one more destination was added, one more component, which is the one we call vacation. Vacation for us includes all those destinations linked to the leisure world, seaside, mountainside, lakes, lakeside and countryside. Diving deep, this is about 40%. This is a consolidated figure, historically speaking, which is also growing. I mean, the potentialities for investment in the hotellerie world in Italy are not only focused on some specific destinations, but we've got many more destinations which can be explored and which are less famous at the moment. We have also dived deep into these figures. Rome is actually the city which has benefited from most investments, about 400 million investments in the past 400 years. And this is a destination which is actually evident in the number of new openings which have already been made or are in the pipeline. The additional 4 destinations we analyzed, the top 4 vacation destinations with investments, were first Como Lake. In 2024, Como Lake had about 180 million investments, 4 transactions. Just 2 I'll mention. One is Grand Hotel Cadenabbia, which should be a 6th census, and the Castello di Urio, which should be a Belmont. In addition to this, the transaction closed in 2025, the Grand Hotel Imperviale. What we notice of Como Lake is that that's one of the destinations supported by one of the best performances in general. If we consider only the 5 top performers, the fee is quite similar to quite close to €2,000, and performance is what supports in all sectors and supports development. The additional 3 destinations we analyzed were the 3 destinations that actually account for the 3 most requested for investors: Sardinia, Sicily, and Apulia. They have some characteristics in common and others which are quite distinctive. Instead, they have about 16, 17 overnight stays per year, but generated in different ways. Sardinia has a seasonality of about 6 months, while Sicily and Apulia have longer seasonalities. Apulia both had transactions, Alpi Tour also in Sicily. As for Lise, Principal, and Corum are 2 quite traditional transactions. As for HMA, Arrow particularly. So this is a mixture of players that are both Italian and international that actually penetrate the Italian investment market. What we actually wanted you to notice is the platform. Well, the platform is one of the first platforms that were created, where the LVMH acquisition by Belmont a few years ago. This is a quite common form. This doesn't mean the investor purchases 100% one operator, so mixing all components of the transaction. This means that there's more trust when partnerships are generated, like Inver and Yellow Square, because possibly this is one of the most recent ones. To conclude, so what did we understand from these assessments and insights? First, the interest in the asset class is growing rapidly. About 20% of total transactions in Italy have been connected to the hospitality world, and this is a growing trend, a trend which is going to gain further ground.
Per chi è stato al MIPI la settimana scorsa,
If you attended MIPI last week, one of the things that we actually witnessed is that there's more and more interest. This doesn't mean everyone is ready to buy in the hotellerie field, but actually there's more exploration in the hotellerie field compared to the past.
quattro altri elementi.
Four more elements. One, the offer is growing, however, still lower than demand. If we consider the transacted volume in the past few years, we have an average of 1.6, 1.7, 1.8 billion. Actually, the deployment potential from this point of view is definitely much more important. So the ability to change opportunities into the pipeline are gaining ground. The second trend, which is not actually a trend in my opinion, but that's quite consolidated, we are not focusing anymore on the main destinations, on the primary destinations, but we also focus on other destinations where actually you can also extract more value. And considering even less crowded destinations, we can actually generate more opportunities. Third, hotel management. This is the new normal. This comes from the fact that the positive performance of the hotel facilities has grown sharply. And this is definitely a good push towards the use of this form of agreement. And fourth, which is also quite important for me, in the past few years, the concentration was mostly in the world of luxury, as we saw about 50% of transacted businesses. But in the future, what we are seeing is that many opportunities come up in other positionings that can be different in the lower tier. Lower tier is not a good word, not a good expression, but they can pick good opportunities of total growth. Thank you.